This week on your old school RuneScape update, Jack Frost is here for Christmas 2023 with a sleigh full of achievements. We discuss our favorites. Cireon has a sad story. We then discuss Firecape progress and Soulstealer versus Berserker. And then we end with the 2023 survey. This is the Old School RuneScape Update, Episode 7, recorded Sunday, December 17th, 2023, Achieving Christmas. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Old School RuneScape Update. Cireon and myself are here as we are each and every week as we progress through this wonderful adventure known as Leagues 4 Trailblazer. Reloaded.
Good that you added that subtitle in the end. That did not go smoothly, huh?
No, it did not, and I realized that sounded a bit more robotic than it should have, but nonetheless, people always ask me what I'm doing in RuneScape, and Leagues is always something that comes up, and that's fine, but there's a little bit of an extra something this week to diversify that a bit. But before we get too far down that track, full show notes can be found at update.show/OS. We invite you to check those out as part of the podcast. You can also find our community Discord at update.show/Discord. And of course, we have a friends chat in game at BitsBytes. I am Shane12088, and he is Cireon with a C. All right. So typically we start with leagues, but I feel like we got to lean into the holiday season this week, don't we? With the Christmas update for 2023.
Yeah, that's always a staple of December.
It really is. It really is. And, you know, I feel like when it comes to Christmas updates in RuneScape, we're always expecting something that runs, the usual 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes in terms of a mini quest, and just kind of reinforces a little bit of lighthearted fun at the holiday season. And I have to say that this one did this. I don't necessarily feel that it was Christmassy like some of the other big ones, like 2005 might have been, but it definitely was seasonal in the form that the anti-Santa was there, and Jack Frost, well, he turned a cow field into an ice skating rink, and was a little bit unsurprised when some cows went flying through it and they weren't able to hit all the markers that he laid down at it. And the thing I think I found most interesting aside from this is that they managed to contain this year's Christmas event in just one small cow field, which I'm trying to remember if there was one that's ever had a smaller footprint than that, but I don't think there has been.
I don't know. No, usually there's like instance area, well, not instance areas, but like underground or whatever areas outside of the game world to cover it. So yeah, no, I think you might be right.
Yeah, or something like the Land of Snow, or yada yada yada. You have it. But
or the Toy Factory, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. I think that was 2005, or was that 2006? I always get five and
but
six
I have
confused,
vivid memories of doing that one.
When you
of
were,
course, I like the scarves and bobbleheads.
When you were like only a knee tall or something like that.
Yeah, like a wee little Cireon was doing.
No, he wasn't playing when he was like 5 years old, folks, and that would put him at an interesting age right now. It'd put you at like what? That was 2005, so that was 18 years ago, and if you were 5 years old then. And
I would be 23. I'd just be finishing university.
You're not 23.
If only. If only.
But nonetheless, we got a fun little ice maze in this. I'm not gonna lie. Ice maze activities and, figuring that sort of stuff out. Not my favorite activity. How did you enjoy that?
I think it was alright. I mean, this was definitely a little bit lighter on the content, same as what we've seen with Halloween, of course.
Which I think makes sense given, that Leagues is running. I think they want to be light on content while Leagues is running.
I think the main reason was the fact that Varlamore is being a massive amount of work.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that they dedicate the resources to that. And that's fair. I think the holiday events, they're a staple, an important part of the game, but also they're going to be gone after a few weeks. So, fair play on them. I didn't mind it. I thought it was an interesting idea to use like a holiday achievement system.
I was just going to go there next. I
found out there weren't any extra rewards for it really, so I decided not to bother. But
it's something that you can, it's something that you can complete. And we all know how RuneScape and completionism go hand in hand, right? Yes. So in that very own way, it's a success, I think, on that.
Yes.
And some of the achievements are, the basic ones that you do during the quest are I love you, jumping the shark, and say bye to the villain. And then there's other ones, can't stop, which is to slide the longest in a possible straight line, jump drive, which has its own computer connotation meanings and other connotation meanings. Trick shot, jump a ramp diagonally.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that would be possible with there. And it just kind of goes to how you can lean into the old style of RuneScape grid movement.
Yeah, and one thing that I sort of appreciated about this update is that you can save a lot of it. Like it's mostly bottle content, right? Like the ice sliding mechanic exists, and
snow textures, Jack Frost,
Jack Frost, exactly. It all already exists, but the writing around it made it feel decidedly RuneScapey, right? Like the goofy dialogue and all of that. Just for me, placed it very squarely in, this is just, this is a RuneScape Christmas event.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's exactly what we expect from it. And given the fact that it was so small, and I was thinking when I was doing it is this all there is to it? But looking at it from this angle on the podcast, I can see it in a different perspective entirely on that, and I'm 100% okay with that. I wasn't sure how I was feeling about it as I was doing it, but looking back at it now, it fits the realm of what we've seen with holiday events in the past. So zero complaints on that front with it. So
it's not one of the big ones that's going to be remembered, but at the same time, it's very inoffensive. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, that's right. Also, with this, you get the snow globe helmet and the icy jumper. So those are the two cosmetic rewards that come from this one that'll go into the collection of past unlockable. Yeah, I don't know why you guys over there call them that, but fair enough. They're sweaters.
What do you call them?
Sweaters.
No, they're jumpers.
You gonna run around with the ice globe hat or the snow globe helmet? No.
No.
There's better hats to wear at Christmas time, like the Santa hat.
Yeah. Got another pack of
party hats, Santa hats. Yeah.
My collection. Yeah.
Noted Christmas crackers.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what the fun part about this is that last Christmas.
That's a song.
Yes, it is a song, but this is when I started my old school account to log in and do the Christmas event.
Oh, did you now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I started playing a little bit earlier than that, but yeah, no, that's an anniversary for you then.
Yeah. It wasn't like when it came out. I think it was a few days after December 25th that I did it, but it's that same time of year that's marking, the 1 year anniversary of the creation and activation of this account. So that's definitely a milestone. And as things go on that, we're fully involved in leagues right now. We did some questing last week that we talked about on the show, and I was actually looking at my quest list this week, and I'm at 88 out of 160 odd quests. So
we're halfway.
So more than halfway there. And I wonder, will 2024 be the year that we complete them all?
Well, I don't know yet. I know that the grindy ones are starting to come up, right? Like it's getting a little bit harder to just jump in and do a quest. There is
it can't be that bad.
Dragon Slayer 2, Desert Treasure 2, Monkey Madness 2. Secrets of the North. I'm not feeling particularly confident about those at this time.
That's fair. That's fair.
We're gonna have to work on our PVM abilities for sure.
That's fair, because Death Touch darts don't exist in this game.
You wouldn't Death Touch dart a quest boss. Come on.
I mean, if it really came down to it at the end of the day.
Come on.
Granted, I've never had to do that before, but back in the day, I did do the Nomad fight. 13. It took me 13 tries before the combat system changed to do that. So it's not as though I'm not 100%. It's not as though I'm not 100% able to do combat with the old school combat system. It's just that it just takes a while sometimes to get used to it, and I feel like I have been getting used to it with the league stuff out there. But in any case,
it's funny. I did Nomad. I tried rushing it just ahead of EOC launch because I was surely EOC is going to make this boss harder, so I better get it done now. In hindsight, that was a terrible mistake.
Yeah.
In
any case, what have you been doing on leagues?
What have I doing on league? Well, I was mostly traveling last week, so that gets you in an interesting position where you're in a hotel room with a phone, and you're like, okay, what is the kind of stuff that allows me to progress on leagues that doesn't really need Runelight plugins? Let's be honest. So I ended up grinding the Brimhaven Agility Arena for that one task, where you need to hand in 100 tickets. That was honestly not so bad. I just broke it up in little chunks, like 30 tickets, which is 30 minutes at a time. And then the last one was like, oh, I have 20 tickets left now because you need 110 in total for the tasks. I decided to just power through, get it done.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And of course, you're Trickster as well, so you don't fail the obstacles. So that's a
exactly.
Nice
I felt a little bit bad for the people who just kept running into the darts there, which I believe reduce your agility level as well. Felt a little bit bad for them. But,
well, that's why when that content first came out, they added Toad Flax there and agility potions.
Yeah, no, exactly. But all in all, that was really good. That was also part of finishing a bunch of diaries. So that's what I've been doing mostly. Achievement diaries have been sort of my guiding principle for tasks.
That's interesting. That's interesting. You mentioned that because they're always.
Are you still not doing them?
I mean, I can get into what I've been doing with that when we get to me, but I always feel that achievement diaries, I don't know why, but they have always been the bane of my existence, in that there's something I never want to do, and after I do them, they don't feel as bad most of the time, and I feel like I need to get to a point where I have the vast majority of the tasks done before I can sit down and do them, or else it's just too much, if that makes sense.
Right. I mean, you can, the nice thing about achievement diaries is you can chip them off, one at a time. I really like that particular part of them.
Like one task a day, right?
Yeah. One task a day keeps the I don't know away. But no, yeah. That's what I've been doing.
You get points for trying there.
Yeah, I get points for trying.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing, and that got me enough. Well, no, didn't get me. Well, yeah, no, that did get me enough points to get to tier 7, which was my goal.
Nice.
I know you're still a while off, but
I
got that relic choice.
I'm about 2,800 off. So what did you go with for your tier 7?
I thought about this. I want to say long and hard, though this decision.
You thought about it on the plane ride back, right?
Well, I mean, this is a decision I knew was coming for a while. So yes, I had a chance to thought about this for a while. I ended up going for Soul Stealer. And the reason behind it, okay, so Weapon Master was out immediately. I don't know if you've seen the latest stat video. It's only picked up by like 8% of people. I think most people don't.
Yeah, I saw that. I feel like it's a very niche pick, and it's something that you would pick if you had a specific build in mind and you were trying to go for it.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel about it as well. So that one was out, which left Berserker and Soul Stealer. Now, Berserker really rewards lean forward PVM gameplay. You get more damage.
It's the Darok set effect, except always there.
Yeah, exactly. It, like the fewer HP you have, the more damage you do. Great. The thing is, I just keep my hit points as high as possible because I am a scared little
noob.
Yes. So I realized I kind of don't mind just going for the relic that is maybe not the highest damaging thing, but at the very least it makes combat a little bit more lean back, a little bit more AFKable even.
More forgiving,
and especially with the long PVM grinds coming up, it just allows me to not continuously have to sink supplies into them.
Okay. And I feel like what you've telegraphed here is largely the same way that I see the tier 7 relic choice, if I'm being honest as well. Because the one thing that has always got to me from that very first attempt, way back when, of doing Jad, was that I have to manage my food, I have to manage swapping between the inventory panel and the prayer panel with that. And if I can get any sort of way that makes that a little bit smoother, whether that's a passive healing method or if it's, just, becoming better at the game over time, that's something that you definitely want. So
that's what I went with. Like, the alternative is waiting until tier 8, right? And where you can get Undying Retribution, which also gets you the heals and the resets and everything you want once every 3 minutes. You can still die in those 3 minutes, but if you're good enough, you can get not too dissimilar of an effect as Soul Stealer from that. And do a chunk of damage when you die at the same time. However, it felt like it didn't have the same level of passiveness involved. So
right, fair enough.
And I won't be getting Undying Retribution for the reason of it feels a little bit redundant at this point.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're and for folks who don't have it in front of them or aren't 100% up on what tier 7 does, Soul Stealer, it increases your minimum hit by 10% of your max hit. And every time you successfully hit, there's a 50% chance that your hit points and prayer restored by 10% of the damage done, rounded up.
Yeah.
And it works for AoE and multi-target attacks. So that's pretty
neat. Yeah. So I have already made my decision for tier 8 as well, which is going to be Guardian. Again, it's something you can just summon. It does more damage. It's very lean back. And apparently it works great in multi-combat areas because it just goes and aggroes everything. So It makes Slayer a breeze, basically.
Oh. Now you've got my attention.
I knew you'd like that. So that's basically all but locked in. So yeah.
Now you just got to find Now you just got to find 8,000 points.
Yeah, exactly. And,
sorry, 9,000 points.
Now here's the thing, right? If you just got this amazing passive healing ability, what would you go and do with that?
I would go do the fight caves.
I did the fight caves with it. Absolutely. I just wanted to give it a try, and I know there's a bunch of points behind it and a bunch of diary tasks behind it. So I did it. It was not particularly fast, but, I had some prayer potions with me. I didn't need them. I could continuously keep up my protection prayers.
Oh, that is so nice.
Yeah, I needed some food, but that was mostly managing some every now and then hits, and getting to grips with sort of positioning and getting in the right spot.
Yeah,
all in all,
getting involved with the Italy rock, if I remember what it's called, right?
I didn't even use that much. I was mostly just flailing around. The Jet kill was a little bit scruffy, but I managed to get all my protection prayers in, which in hindsight was stupid because there's a task to mess up at least once.
Right.
But I'll probably be doing more fight caves.
Because you do need to sacrifice a fire cape at some point. I do
need to sacrifice it, and the kill count task is nice. Combat achievement. So no, that's great. It was fine. I got like 38 minutes, I think, on my kill, which is not the fastest, but not the worst.
That's about what I got back in the day when I did that for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. And other than that, I got base 60s. I am really close to base 70s, actually. Did some more Soul Wars. I'm starting to get around to Soul Wars.
It's pretty great, isn't it?
It's also playing it is not the worst.
No,
Do I enjoy it most? No. But I killed a few players in PvP combat, and that felt pretty good, I'm gonna be honest.
Wow.
Like actually being able to kill some people, okay, yeah.
What do you what kind of combat setup are you using at this point? I mean, you're
Blessed Dragonhide, Rune Crossbow, and Rod Bolts.
Okay.
Yeah.
The same general area that I'm heading. Unfortunately, we ran into a clue wall with that, but nonetheless.
No, and I did 3 games. We won all 3. I had plenty of zeal to get 10 prayer levels and get all my combat stats to 70.
Do you still
I did the night waves. That bumped my melee skills from 60 to 70.
Where is that?
That's Camelot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That 16 times XP multiplier is definitely, I'm feeling it. You don't think it, but it's another 30% and you feel it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So tier 7 is great. It's been great. There's been one really sad story though.
Yeah, you mentioned that before we began here and you saved it for the show. Yes. So what is that?
So there's a task in Trailblazer to trade in your cat, your fully grown cat.
As you deference. Do. Yeah.
For deference. It takes 3 hours for a cat to grow up.
Right.
So it's fine, I'll have it follow me around. I'll do all the things. I'll trade it in, be done with it. But I was, in the meanwhile, still playing the game and doing things. And one of the diary tasks for current is to kill a lizardman shaman. I underestimated the lizardman shaman and I died. Do you know what happens when you die, when a kitten is following you?
Yeah, your cat runs away.
I had 2 minutes left on it being fully grown. 2 minutes! And it ran away.
You are just underscoring why I hate the cat quests.
I'm heartbroken.
It's a virtual cat. Come on.
I know. I'm heartbroken because of all the effort I put into it.
Okay, fair.
I'm now halfway. I'm now basically exactly halfway the next cat, but
Okay. So for some clarity here, people should know that in real life I don't like cats. I think they're demon creatures. They make me sneeze. Please don't put me in a room with a cat. You have to be a very important person for me to see your cat willingly. Secondly, I have had similar stories like you with cats in RuneScape, and I just really, 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 really don't like the way cats are contingent upon some quests and content in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I 100% feel that. And that's an Ardoyan task too, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah. You got away pretty lucky there.
I'm glad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad. So, what color cat was it?
It was the nicest color as well, like the blue one. Now I got a white one. It's fine. I'm not upset.
It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for folks wondering, there's a definite smirk going on his face right now when he said that. So, Okay, all right. Anything else in your league's adventures this week? I appreciate that you ended with a sad story.
Yeah, no, that was it. I mean, honestly, it's been great. Still, I'm still enjoying it. My original thing was like, I'm gonna get 10,000 points. That's gonna be my goal. And now I'm like, I don't know where my target is right now. Do you ever like? I know you wanted to get 99 farming.
Oh, I did that, and it was
But you did that. So where are you at right now? Do you have like any goal or target or? Because I'm not sure. My current thinking is I might want to max all my skills.
That's a good idea now that you have the 16x multiplier. For me, my goal over the past week has been frantically going through my task list and organizing it in such a way that it's shaking it out to try and find the points for tier 7, because much like you, I want the combat relic at tier 7 before I start leading into a lot of PVM. And I'm about 2,800 points away right now. By my calculations, I have about 800 or so still points that I can do relatively easily. You could probably knock out, within a day. So I organized the task list, and I think that's going to be okay.
Did you make a spreadsheet?
No, I didn't make a spreadsheet. It's just a checkpoint. It's just a checkpoint list. Yeah, I haven't got around, and I'm not going to lie. I have thought of messing with the Root and Light API to get task progress and all that other fun stuff, because we have talked about on the show how the RuneScape Wiki's task list is wonderful.
It's great.
And how it shows, how many players have completed it in terms of the entire, community. But the one thing that task list does not do is it doesn't look at your skills and say, these are the things that you have just unlocked that you might want to go and do now. Or it doesn't let you, in a way, form a path to your next X amount of points, right? As in, it could say, okay, you have these levels. Here's what the community has completed most of in terms of, based on where progression is at. Here might be the best way to get, your next 600 points or so. And, I'm not going to lie, that's something I thought of maybe dabbling in and doing, but I don't necessarily know that, there's much value in doing that since we're north of, 50% completed of this league right now. But that sort of thing always pops into my head. Is it going to be a normal list? Is it going to be a spreadsheet, or is it going to be something a little bit more programmatically, where I lean into and do that?
For me, it's a text file.
Yeah,
it's text file.
That's what it has been for the league so far on that. And you asked me on last week's show if I had a way to convince you to choose Tyrannon yet.
Yes, I did ask. Yeah. Still haven't looked in my final region.
No, and I think you should come with me there.
Oh.
Because
it's lonely there.
Yeah,
were you the only one who picked it because it's a shit region?
No, not because of that, but I haven't seen many people there. But at the same time, the sense is that you get a lot of utility from the city. In that,
okay.
If you want planks, there are teak and mahogany trees right next to a plank maker. The agility course is interesting because you know how we have rooftop agility in most of the major cities. They have their own sort of unique thing with that too, except it's at a much larger, grandiose scale, and it of course also tracks your time with that.
But why would I need an agility?
No, I'm just saying the
agility with my boots.
I'm just saying that the agility course is interesting. That's all. I'm not saying that you need, the ability to do that. But overall, and this has actually been, and this is probably what main game characters say too, this has been the main reason I want to push and get things done sooner and, amp up the amount of combat I'm able to do, amp up the things like mining and smithing. And I don't know how you feel about mining and smithing right now. How do you...
It's fine. Like okay. I said, I went back to swords because I needed the coal, and swords is really the best way to get coal.
Yeah, unless you have Fremenic, right?
Unless you have... Well, Fremenic, you still need coal, but you need half the coal.
Yeah. But miscellanea and whatnot, you could do.
Miscellanea would help, yeah, for sure.
But
Model Mine would help a little bit as well.
Yeah, I went there too this week. And for some reason, there's this weird part of me that forgot that Motherlode Mine was part of Asgarnia. But nonetheless, we're looking at things like Zulrah that are going to be interesting to do in Prif. And that's the main reason that I went there. That combined with Zolcano, because Zolcano, as the name might imply, skilling boss, requires mining and smithing to be fought. Base level 70s of mining and smithing to go in. I'm not there yet. So what I want to do is I want to eventually use Zolcano for the ore and smithing products that it drops. But of course, if I'm going to train to level 70 mining and smithing, I want the 16x multiplier, right? So that's why I'm on that track of finding those remaining points so that I can get that XP just that little bit more efficiently.
It's what we talked about last week, and I think we've brought it up previously, is that you get to the point where you're getting really close to the next milestone.
Yeah.
But so you want to minimize the amount of training you do, but at the same time, you need to do enough training to get those tasks done. So it's important, I think, to be a little bit smart about the tasks you pick. Like what I did, for example, is I finished the achievement diaries, but the leagues points, you get them when you finish them, not when you claim the rewards. I was like, I'm going to wait with claiming these lamps until I get a third more XP out of them, right? Like I don't need that XP right now. And making decisions like that, I think, is what you need to start doing as you approach these tiers.
Because there's no point in redeeming XP if you're a close amount of points away from the next tier, right? And exactly. I mean, even at this point, 2,800 away, given that XP modifier is going up, it's something that I would consider waiting for. And
you get a bunch of tasks that are 200 points, and things can go quite quickly. That's what I've noticed. Like if you're a little bit smart about how you plan your path, it's quite easy to have things come together, and you finish like 3 or 4 point tasks at the same time. And there's a few 200 points and a few 80 points in there, and all of a sudden you're like much closer to the golden you thought.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. I forget what I was doing this week, but I think I got 3 or 4 tasks done along the way. No. Yeah. It was a rogues den, and it was fill 1 collection log slot up, and I realized, have I not done that before? But it was getting the full Rogue's piece, or Rogue's Den outfit from that, and that was, just, I was initially thinking I was going to go in there and, just get 80 points for getting the outfit, but no, it was closer to, 200 points when you add everything all up together with that. So, and see, that's the thing. It's just a question of chaining those things together and then, implementing it, so to speak, with that. But you also mentioned the Motherlode Mine. I went there. I went there this week as well. Did the 30 gold nugget task. And yeah, I can say that you're probably missing out on that, because that's actually a really nice source of coal.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I think I got like a little bit unlucky on my Spoils of War, but I got 500 coal drop. And I'm probably going to go back there and do a little bit more. Got another 10k.
That's only a little bit north of 100 mithril bars.
I know, but you get a bunch of other resources out of it. I got like 1,000 adamant bolts, and like that's the next big upgrade to my gear, which is enchanted bolts. Yeah. So it's I get more out of it for the same amount of time. So I don't mind it so much. If I have to grind a little bit longer, so be it.
Right, and I sent you a picture this week of my Soul Wars exploits as well.
How many games was that?
6.
Okay.
6 games. And I got a stack of like 15k essence, a bunch of adamant bolts, and those are the main things I was there for. But there's some other things in there too, like mithril and rune ore, rune bolts, soul runes.
I tier 7 also increases the minigame multiplier, I believe. So
even more reason to rush that then.
Exactly.
So and see, I think we discussed this on episode 1. We discussed this at numerous points throughout the show, but this is RuneScape in a nutshell, in that, do you do something now, or do you wait a little while after you had a bunch of things in front of it to do that, a bit more efficiently and get more along the way? And, 9 times out of 10, you want to do it more efficiently. And I think that's the main draw that people really like about RuneScape. So
it's what I'm enjoying. It's like, it's just strategizing on a slightly different level, and so far it's been really good.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Is there anything else that I wanted to mention in terms of things that I did this week on leagues?
I did Path of Glovery as well, by the way. I did basically. I have 3 quests left that I can do at my regions right now, which is Sheep Herder. Yay. Kingdom Divided and Shield of Wrath. So.
Okay, fair enough. Wow, so you've been doing quests too?
Yeah, been doing quests too. Got a bunch of good, Zoga Flesh Eaters gave me a few good levels. Temple of Ekov gave me a few good levels. Like I said, Night Waves gave me some great levels. So doing things like that. Nice. I mean, I've also done a few weird quests, like Azil Cult and Clock Tower, which didn't give you much, but it felt right to finish them, and the quest points will help in future Tears of Gothics runs.
Right, so. Fair enough on that. And, I think the last thing I want to mention, before we move on to the other big thing that was in the news this week, is that in terms of what I've been, just feeling with leagues, is that, initially I wasn't sure whether I was going to like it, but at the same time, I'm not typically, somebody who's driven by achievements and, ticking things off a list, and I've actually found it oddly satisfying. In terms of, just getting the requirement to do something and then seeing that list, fall down from 250 tasks complete to 300 and unlocking the final region, then finally now up to 378 as a recording. So
yeah, the final region. When will I finally commit? I don't know.
Well, what are the final choices? Tyrannon obviously is one.
Tyrannon is gone, yeah.
Okay. I mean, it all falls down to what level of PVM you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like if you just want to do God Wars as Garnia, if you want to get a blowpipe and you want to do Zulrah and Volcano, it's Tyrannon.
It's the Gauntlet that I am most interested in.
And the Gauntlet, yeah, that too.
Tyrannon, not necessarily Zulrah.
Yeah. And, you know, that's just been that same general push for me. All of those three things in Prif is why I need that tier 7 and that XP multiplier.
Have you done any God Wars? Like, that's the thing I've been looking at.
No,
right?
I haven't. I haven't because I just unlocked the rune crossbow last week.
Right, yeah. Because I've been looking at it, like, it doesn't get that much better from rune crossbow. Like, the Zarite crossbow is better, yeah, for sure, but I don't know how much better it is.
Yeah, and see, that's the other thing. I've been thinking, you know, do I keep grinding these hard clues to get Blessed Dragonhide? Or do I just, you know, find a way to 82 crafting to get my black, you know, chaps and fan braces?
You could get Armadillo armor. Why are you not going for Armadillo armor? Why are you not going for Crystal armor, for that matter?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Now that you mention it, I feel like the issue with Crystal armor is that I don't have the Crystal armor seed.
Time for you to do the Gauntlet then.
Yeah, it is. I guess. I assume that's the case, but in any case, we're approaching the end of the year here.
Hadn't noticed.
And with that comes the annual survey, Jagex's annual survey for Old School.
Mm-hmm.
I did this survey. It was very long, and you know that's not necessarily a bad thing. So just my word of advice for anybody out there who hasn't done it yet and wants to do it, if you want to do this survey, set aside a good 20 to 30 minutes to do this survey. The survey is effectively, from Jagex's end, a story of figuring out where the players are presently at. Mm-hmm. It also asks about what big content beats there should be after things like Sailing and Varlamore come out, and where the inspiration from those should come from. Should they be from the players? Should they be their own uniquely generated ideas? Should they, in some cases, be content that RuneScape 3 has? And to that end, they're actually testing the waters to see if players would respond favorably to bringing over certain pieces of RuneScape 3 content. You want to know what they're...
I mean,
do you want to know what was specifically mentioned in the survey?
I'm assuming they're not talking quests, right? Like Path of Joffrey, which I
no,
did
they
today,
are.
by the way.
They are talking about quests.
Because they've been doing that already. With
yeah,
like
Summer's End and While Gothic Sleeps are mentioned as two possible quests.
Okay. Summer's End would be good and nice. I don't know how I feel about While Gothic Sleeps, because now...
You kind of uncork the Majorat thing with that, don't you?
You kind of unlock, yeah. You kind of unlock the whole
path to the Sixth Age.
Yeah, exactly. So that's interesting.
But you know what's more interesting? They talked about RuneScape 3 skills.
Oh.
In particular,
I mean, we're not getting invention.
In particular, would you like to see something like dungeoneering or summoning brought over?
No, I don't know. Well, what did you answer actually? Because I'm curious.
I answered no on this. I answered no on those ones because just like for people who haven't listened to the podcast before, will know that I hate dungeoneering like I hate Slayer, and summoning for what it is, I think is an interesting idea at its core, but it would need to be reworked for 2023 Old School. It shouldn't just be summoning as it is, because summoning is effectively a pouch-making skill that is a carbon copy of the way Herblore works with primaries, secondaries, and tertiaries. And I think that's really boring and is not something that Old School should strive to have in this day and age.
Summoning is one of the skills that has never clicked for me. Like,
yeah.
I know as part of PVM, if you want to do the best thing, like you should be using
right,
familiars, but it always feels
and
like
it was made a combat skill when it was added back in 2008. So, I mean, there was no such thing as a summoning pier, as much as people might have liked there to have been. But maybe this is something that old school could lean into and, make it like a true follower companion kind of skill. I don't know if the people respond to that favorably. But there's other talk of other pieces of content from RS3 that they could bring over. The biggest one was the mining and smithing rework.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
Yes.
It's hard to say. I do like mining and smithing in RS3 more.
Yes. Yeah. But at the same time, and see, this is the thing that old school has changed about me, and, even doing the show to an extent has changed about me. Before, starting up old school in earnest, I would have said, yeah, definitely bring the mining and smithing rework over to old school. And I know how painful mining and smithing is right now in old school. I know it. I've lived it on main. I'm living it on leagues. So at the same time, something probably needs to be done about that. But the question is a carbon copy of what RS3 has the right response to it? So I answered favorably on that one. I didn't answer favorably on dungeoneering or summoning.
The fact that like the different tiers like match with like the actual like combat gears is really good.
Yeah. And see that's the thing. It would open up the door to bringing Rune down and letting old school tell their own story with the tiers beyond that, right? So, because the combat system is different. So, I think the mining and smithing rework is something that definitely should be considered. But that was very much the vein of this survey, is that what would you like to see from us for the big beats after Varlamore, after sailing, all that? And it's, should we pull from RS3? Should we pull from our own ideas? Should we pull from the community? And with that, they even say, are we doing this right with polling? There are sections that are specifically tailored to see if the polls for old school RuneScape should continue on, and if people like that. Should the thresholds be tuned for polls to make it easier for content to pass? And there's even an outright question: should we continue polling updates? That's the kind of stuff we're asking in this survey here.
That's an interesting.
And to be fair, I don't think they'd change that because it's so integral to the identity of old school. But I think what it does is it lets them see where the community is at and say, well, maybe this number's down from where it was, about 10% from previous years. Maybe we can just say this update's going to come in regardless of poll. Right? But at the same time, they also said, when it comes to polls, what is the most important thing for you about polls? Is it, to have your own opinion about how updates should come into the game? Or is it to ensure that updates maintain the vibe and the old school feel with it? So this survey, I think, really just underscores that, the old school community team and the marketing team and whoever else is involved with this survey really do know the community. And it's a question of, where does the game go from here? And, by any stretch of the imagination, I don't imagine polls going away, but they're open to trying some pretty radical things. Because, hold on to your seat right now, there's even a section about player-made content, either being a part of the main game or being brought forward by third-party clients.
How much value do you assign to that, though? Like, to what extent can we, like, the nice thing about services, you can throw everything in there and just tag a big disclaimer on it and just see where the opinion lands.
Right. And to be fair, I don't expect them to go fully down, the idea of embracing third-party content and adding it to the main launcher, because I don't think players would jump up and down about that, because I don't think... I think RuneLite made a bigger splash than HDOS did with its Halloween content, right? So
Right.
And then, there's other things about custom game modes. What if game modes were recommended by Jagex? And then, the biggest thing, and I think this is to get some of the private server crowd back, would you be interested in renting your old school RuneScape server, and would you pay for it?
It's interesting. You can, like, the thing is, Leagues is kind of a private server experience.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, with the XP rates.
With the XP buffs and people, like, there being some custom content in forms of achievements just to get, like, interesting forms of progression. It's almost a private server already, and look at how wildly popular it is.
Right.
The thing is, how much of that is going to remain if it is a forever thing, more of a forever thing.
Exactly.
Like right now, it's nice because it is very,
it's a novelty.
What's the right word? Well, no, but also it's very cherry-picked and redacted, right?
Yeah, like, it's also a very curated experience, too.
Curated, that's the word I was looking for. It's a very curated
right.
way
and see, I don't know if that's us or if it's the community, because I know I like curated experiences, and I think you do, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where the community lies on that.
I think the community does, too. I just don't think they know it.
And that becomes an interesting discussion in itself, too, I think, when we get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because you and I have talked many times before off the podcast about how, and, for listeners out there, please don't take this the wrong way, it's very much the Steve Jobs approach that most times when it comes to games and community, the players don't know necessarily what they want or need.
No, it's a really hard balance, and this comes back to how the polling works, right? Like, polling is a good thing. At the same time, I think you need to be careful, right? Like, sometimes you need to make the hard decisions to just do something.
Yeah, exactly. And to be clear, nothing is guaranteed or being shut down off the bat with this survey. So there's that too. Like there's no preconditions going into it that X, Y, or Z is going to happen. Which I think is a positive thing at the end of the day. But Alrighty. I don't have anything else on the survey or anything else on my League's adventure, dare I say it, even Mainscape adventures this week. Do you?
No, I haven't had a chance yet, unfortunately, to get around and do the survey. I definitely will.
Yeah.
I think everybody should. You should have your say. Especially if you disagree with that.
Oh, okay. At the bottom of the post, they do say it'll take between 30 and 45 minutes to complete. It took me about 30. Yeah. So, just be sure you're comfortable when you do that, because it's a long one and you want to be able to answer honestly through everything. So,
yeah.
But alrighty, folks. Well, we'll be back next week for another episode of the Old School RuneScape update. Always fun to sit down and talk about leagues and RuneScape in general, and that's why we do this each and every week. Reminder, if you want the podcast delivered automatically to you, you can find it at update.show/OS, as well as your favorite podcast listeners out there. We're on Apple, Google, Spotify, and more, and YouTube as well at youtube.com/@OSRS update. But with that being said, we'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Old School RuneScape update. See you then, everyone. Take care.